about it. My hair is standing on end just thinking about it. My hair is standing on end just thinking about it. My hair is standing on end just thinking about it. My hair is standing on end just thinking about it. standing on end just thinking about it. My hair is standing on end just thinking about it. My hair is standing on end just thinking about it.
Go. All right, we are live. We're just waiting for Jeremy and Payton to join us, but I see Payton in here now as well. Hey, there he is. Can you hear?
Hey, how's it going?
You can hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfectly. Yes. Payton's on his way in as well. We only have half of Payton's head. Now we have 3/4.
What the heck? Okay. Trying to figure out how to turn this lamp on that's in my hotel room, but
It's good. It's very moody. This is giving me
yeah,
like
I guess I'm just gonna be kind of dark.
it's going to be kind of Godfather vibes or something going on.
Uh,
I could maybe
You're
try to turn on the TV and see if that helps.
the old TV light. So, guys, we're live. World's greatest live stream, 3
awesome.
p.m. here on a Saturday, 9 p.m. in Paris, 9 p.m. in Zurich too.
Yes.
Awesome. Jeremy Campbell, let's, if it's the age old, if we don't start off within the first 10 seconds in social and digital, then you're going to lose the whole audience. So we got to like jump straight in. I'll do a quick intro, then we'll go around the horn to Jeremy, to Payton, and then I'm going to start off with some questions. But so I'm Bob Ciosic, founder, CEO of World's Greatest. We make content with amazing athletes like yourselves, try to push it out into the world and give you guys a little notoriety before everyone gets to know you on the Olympic stage. Jeremy, I'll toss it over to you for a quick intro. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, well, my name is Jeremy Campbell. I've been a part of the U.S. Paralympic track and field team for this is either like my 19th or 20th consecutive season. Made my first one in 2006, and was initially a multi-eventer back when Paralympics had the event pentathlon. So it was basically half the DECA. And so that was my main focus for my Paralympic debut in China in 2008. And then I just started to focus on discus. I wanted to focus on just one event and try to specialize in that and take it to an elite level in the Paralympic world. And have been throwing discus discus only since 2009. And so I've been a four-time Paralympic champion, four-time Paralympic gold medalist, four-time world champion. And so, yeah, I've been here at my fifth one right now in Paris at the Village right now.
Amazing. Payton, give us a quick rundown as well.
I'm Payton Otterdahl. I'm Team USA shot putter. I just made my second Olympic team and finished fourth in Paris just about a month ago. I went to North Dakota State for college and did pretty much all of the throws except for javelin. Never was a javelin thrower, and now I just specialize in the shot put.
It's awesome. So this is giving the throwers some love. Payton, you know how
Appreciate
I love the throwers.
You're a rare breed.
What people don't understand, this is what I've been preaching for years now, is fans of throwers, it's like 8 to 10% of the total sports fan audience. But they are rabid fans, the biggest fans of every other Olympic and Paralympic sport. So the throwers fans are actually the most important fans in all of Olympic sports and Paralympic sports. So it's just a fun stat to have in your back pocket when you need it to say, hey, sponsor, we need more money.
Yeah.
I want to start off with you, Jeremy, on first of all, congrats on already an amazing career, right? And
Thank you.
I kind of want to start there to say, like, where does that drive and passion come from to want to continue to compete and win at the highest level?
Yeah, I think, even though I was born with, I had my right leg amputated when I was one, but I grew up in a very athletic home. I grew up in the Texas Panhandle, and sports were a way of life. Played football, basketball, ran track and field growing up, and so I naturally gravitated towards sports. And that was always my passion and love, and just wanted to be the best that I could be. And then when I was introduced to the Paralympics, just really fell in love with it, saw the opportunity, and saw a career that had longevity possibility to it. And then just as I just got more and more involved with Paralympics and continued to commit to it, I really just fell in love with the discus. I have had a great coach throughout my career that was really just absolutely clutch, or just a monumental figure to really help me understand the elite mindset and take in what just optimizing performance and what that looks like. And like right now at the Paralympics, the entire motto is kind of like, we're competing and not participating. It was like this massive thing, this campaign. And I think for me, it was just like, I've always wanted to, Paralympics parallel the Olympics. And so I just wanted to I had this just drive that if you come and watch Paralympic discus, you're going to see, you have a good possibility of seeing the implement go just as far as an Olympic competition. And that was always my drive. I wanted performance to parallel that. And I think that's mainly it. And so that's when the pentathlon was taken out and I was no longer focused on 5 events. At that same time, the Paralympics were still very young, and so performance hadn't got to an elite level. The depth of competition, and flight lists, and just the athletes that were competing then, it just wasn't nearly as deep as it is now. And I made the first decision. Like, people were asking, well, you were very good in medal contention on these other events. Why didn't you want to do discus and long jump, all the other ones that the pentathlon consisted of? And that was kind of like that decision where I wanted to honor the sport, and I wanted to honor the elite mindset of just, you're not going to see an Olympic discus thrower go and line up after the next day and be in the call tent for a long jump. And so I really just approach it like that, and just wanted to elevate the performance, elevate the sport, really.
That elite mindset. Payton, we all know as casual fans of the Olympics and the Paralympics that once the games are over, you guys are just sitting around at home and you're just, grilling burgers and eating chips and playing with the dog. That's what happens. We all know that, right? I mean,
Yeah, of course. I mean, I got nothing going on until 2028 now. I don't know what I'm going to do with all the time on my hands.
This is probably, you guys have maybe even brothers or sisters, probably not, but cousins or uncles or aunts are like, are you going to the Olympics, Payton? You're like, well, there's something called Olympic trials. I kind of have to make the team, like all this stuff. Talk to me, like, literally, where are you sitting right now and what are you going to be doing? What is it, tomorrow? Yeah.
Well, I'm currently sitting in Zurich right now. We have a meet on the 5th, so a little bit of time between now and then. We just competed last night in Rome, got here today. And then it's a very backloaded season, especially for the shot putters this year. We have 6 meets. Well, some of us are doing even more than that, but I personally have 6 meets in 3 weeks. So very, very backloaded this season. So I've had a little bit of space between Poland to Rome, now in Zurich, a little bit of time between those. But after Zurich, I'm competing every other day for a week. So it's quite a bit of competition still. It's nice because my friends and family, they've gotten, every time the Olympic year comes around, they're especially into my season. So they've been following really closely with the rest of it. And I've also gotten a little bit more active on the socials, especially on Facebook, because most of my extended family's on Facebook. So linking my Instagram account to that, they're able to see more of what I'm doing that they've never been able to see in the past. So they're really staying up to date on everything.
Yeah, and Payton, talk a little bit about, and I kind of want to see what questions you have for Jeremy. And I'm especially curious now that, Jeremy, you're talking about the fans have a chance to see you throw as far, potentially as far as the Olympic athletes in discus. But talk a little bit, Payton, about your, as you heard Jeremy talk about the elite, this athlete mindset, this elite athlete mindset, and how you think of that.
Yeah, I mean, track and field right now is just kind of on the come up for performances, and it's never been better than right now in the men's shot put, and especially if you're from the USA. So when you're throwing against, Ryan Krauser, Joe Kovacs at every single meet, you have to be just totally on your game. You're trying to not only get to their level, but also push them to higher levels, because, the better they do, they're really pulling up the whole sport with them. You have to, get better or, fall into obscurity in this sport. So it's a very cool thing to be a part of, to see, because, it's just unbelievably good right now. And it's the best that it's ever been. We're excited to see where it's going to go from here. You have to have that mindset, but never settling, I guess, would be kind of a good way to explain it. Because, with Ryan and Joe, you absolutely can't get complacent. You have to be on your best and continuing to improve just like they are.
The Peyton, do you have a question for Jeremy? I got a few that I'm teeing up myself, but
Yeah, so Jeremy, I remember when I was in college at North Dakota State, that was the first time I ever saw you. You were throwing in some of the meets that I watched. I want to say that I saw you throw maybe at Long Beach when I was younger, or it must have been some meet that was on the West Coast where all the good weather is. But I saw
yeah.
you throw, and you were throwing some pretty serious distances. How does it, you know, how do you cope with having like such a long career? You know, you said you've been competitive now for and throwing discus for 20 years. Like, how does your goals and your mindset continue to adapt through all that time?
Um, Great question, man. I'm still trying to navigate that, to be honest, and that's one of the most difficult things I think is arriving at this place that I am right now is to visit those things, revisit those motivations because, I've been a completely different person each games. Um, and so it's been a completely different experience for me. And so that's fun. It's been scary at times and it's been exciting. Like this one I'm really enjoying just because like just I can see the maturity of my growth as a person and then as an athlete is allowing me to have a completely different lens, be a lot more present in the moment and really just enjoy this. Um, but I think really it's just, you know, for me, it's gotten to a point. I remember when I first started training at home, because I spent a lot of time out in Chula Vista training at the Olympic Training Center. And then when I moved back to Oklahoma, I put up a net in my office in the warehouse space. So when I'm at work and I can't get out to the ring, I can just go next door and warm up and throw into a net. And really,
That's
like,
amazing, by the way.
thank you. Yeah, it's in the summertime. It's really hot because I don't have a good HVAC in there, but it's so amazing. I'm very glad to be able to have that resource. And but like I don't know, it's just like it's gotten to the point where I'm still not as much like I can look at this and I've been saying that this is my last one, and it's hard to say that now that I'm experiencing the energy in the Paralympic Village and my nervous system is coming up. The last 5 days of going into this taper, like you're just feeling the excitement. Um, and I've just, I know that my furthest throw is still in there. And so I'm chasing that. And it's tough because I know that that furthest throw, that throw is in there and a whole nother level of performance and is still in there. And but the kind of the bummer thing is like I just turned 37 and my body is not feeling like the same and it's got hurts and stuff. Um, and so like to get there, does my physical body can it take that amount of volume and intensity that I know it's going to take to get there? Um, Overall, to answer your question, it's kind of like just that long of a career. It's just kind of become something like I don't, other than just wanting to take my personal competition to a more elite level. Um, I've always wanted to pick up the 2K and see what I could do with the 2K. Sometimes throwing the 2K and the 1.5 are just so radically different, messes up the timing. I can't smash my hip the same way as I can with the 1.5. Or yeah, and so it's really just become like I can't remember. Other than that, I can't remember the last time I was like super inspired or motivated internally. It's just become so ingrained as what I do and who I am. It's just like you get up and you go to the ring. And I train by myself, and that's why I brought that up. Is just um, it's hard to train by yourself to keep accountable, and but that you just get up and you do it. And so I think right now I'm trying to answer that question that you asked, like how do you like what motivates you and keeps you going for such a long career? Um, One, it's awesome just to represent Team USA, but I think ultimately it's just the hunger for the further one out there.
That's so cool. The we shot this series called The Science of Movement, and we picked one athlete in one different event, and we kind of broke down that event with the physician from our sponsor, which is HSS, and we did it with shot put, right, with Ryan. And when we were going into that shoot, and we've shot a lot of stuff with Ryan over the years, but we're going into that shoot, I'm like, how is this going to be interesting? Like, it's the 7-foot ring. He does the same thing. He spins around. He throws it really far. Like, how are we going to make this interesting? We're coming off the sprint shoot and the heptathlon shoot that we were doing with Talia. And then, of course, I did my pre-interview again with Ryan. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's the guy that knows everything about this, right? And breaking it down in such amazing detail. But I want to come back around to a question for you, Jeremy, on what, because I look at shot put so much, like I'm so much more knowledgeable than when we first started this 6 years ago. What should I be looking for in the discus with you as a fan, right? And as a para athlete as well, what should we be looking at to look for what's going to be a great throw? Like, how should we kind of look at that as viewers?
Yeah, we all have, it's all fundamentally the same, but we all have our own little quirks and our own global rhythms. For me, my cues have always been, so let me first say, so I'm right-handed. My prosthesis is my right leg, and so for me, biggest weaknesses throughout my career is my right sweep, to stay long or to be very active with my right sweep. I've always tried to be a lot more dominant, aggressive with it, but since it is my prosthetic side, it's really lazy. And so that's why we went to, a lot of people are like, dude, your rhythm is like, my windup is extremely slow. It's very, very slow compared to most throwers. I think there's only like one thrower that I've ever really witnessed, got to watch throw that was that slow, and that was long in 2008. I think that was Casey Malone, who had a very slow windup. And so the reason why I've done that is it's just gone to that was, well, if I have a hard time picking up my right side because it's my prosthesis, let me just slow everything down and let me get the right ahead of it. And then the biggest thing is, since it is my right leg, my prosthesis is my power position. It's me catching myself in the middle of the ring, which is very unstable. And so for me, staying stacked in my posture is massive to keep balance. And then focal points are massive for me, because I don't have an ankle, I don't have a calf. I typically try to remain as patient as I can, but it's so unstable for me. I rip my head to get out of it really quick just because that leg isn't there. And so for me, a really good throw, you're going to see, if I can catch a 6 o'clock focal point, that's going to create a lot more separation. And so if you see me, if my head is staying out in the field just a split second longer, I know I'm going to create some tension there. And for me, something that I've always loved about a lot of the work that I did out the back of the ring was get off my left really quick and I don't have much of a flight phase, but what I do love what I like is I stop my left at 90 degrees very well, I think. Which is argued. A lot of people, rotate past that, but it's something that we've always dialed in. But yeah, so if I can catch either a 6 o'clock or a 12 o'clock focal point, and then, like I mentioned earlier, smacking the 1.5 is a lot. I train heavy. I train 2K, 2.5, 2.25. And I got to keep that 1.5 doesn't have enough weight to naturally keep it behind my hips. So I have to really focus in holding it back, or else it creeps up. And so I think that answers your questions. It's hard if you don't understand the throw what to look for, because those little things make, as Payton knows, or anyone that knows throw, like those are the cues that make meters come or go. So
this is why I'm going to use Payton right now. Payton, explain to me what he just said.
Did that make sense, Payton?
I don't know if you want another throwing mind to explain it, because it's probably going to sound very similar to the way he just said it. But essentially, the gist of it is that there's so much happening in such a short amount of time that very small cues, very small mistimings even, or if something's a little off, it takes a lot of distance off a throw, or vice versa. It can add a lot of distance to a throw if you do something even just a little better. So, I can't really speak for Jeremy, but having a right leg prosthesis, you're missing a lot of the feelings that can come in the middle of the throw. Like he said, having this long sweep, being patient on the right. I mean, just from that point of view, just lacking that sort of feeling the timing would be unbelievably different, and it's quite the thing to overcome and to try to put those feelings into the throw. I think that's kind of the gist of what he's going for. Like, those are the things that he's working on. Those are his cues. We all have very few, like a couple cues that we focus on to try to get the ball to go far. Like, we tell ourselves, if I just hit this one or two things and it goes well, the ball or the disc or whatever we're throwing, it's going to go. It's too fast of time to focus on any more than that. If you focus on too much, the things that you're trying to make go well are going to also fall apart. So there's quite a bit happening in just that 1.5 seconds that we throw. It's very similar to golf. I always compare throwing to golf because that's something that most people can relate to. So many moving parts in such a short amount of time. There's a sequence to how everything goes, starting with the legs and going up to the upper body. It's very, very similar motion. And then people can oh, okay, that makes sense. We're just throwing much heavier things than a golf ball.
Exactly. All right, Payton, I've done this to you before, so I'm going to do it to you again to give Jeremy kind of a heads up on what to think about. I'm getting out my stopwatch, and what we're going to do is I want to hear, Payton, your life story in 60 seconds or less. Are you ready?
Holy.
Go.
All right.
Go.
Okay. Born and raised in Rosemount, Minnesota. Grew up a multi-sport athlete doing, pretty much everything you can think of. But once I was in high school, I was doing wrestling, football, track, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, the whole gamut. Ended up being best at track, so I earned a scholarship to go to North Dakota State. While I was there, I got my degree in health and physical education, had a couple national titles. I was better at shot put, so I decided to continue training in that after college. Since then, I've made 2 Olympic teams and a world team, currently representing ASICS, and just finished 4th at the last Olympics, and looking forward to continue training and going through this next Olympic cycle, taking it one cycle at a time, looking to always improve and just get better. Let's see, how did I do? That was less than 60 seconds.
It's amazing.
I can add a little more in 10 seconds.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Personal life, I enjoy playing video games. I just got engaged, and I have a lot of pets, lots of reptiles, and a dog.
Oh, man.
Congrats.
I think you actually now... I'm going to have to go to the screenshot I took of Rose Hollerman from yesterday, because she had a 58 something. I'm going to do a screenshot because you might have the record.
I could have left it at 10, but I kind of forgot about my interests and stuff. Or at the 50.
I was waiting for you to let it go so I could give you some shit about you didn't even mention that you proposed in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Yes, I was keeping it focused on track and athletics, but if I had 10 seconds, I should add personal life stuff in there too.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you. No better place to do it than the city of love.
Yeah, you're making us all look bad with that one, Payton. It's like...
I'm way too verbose for this game. Okay.
All right, Jeremy, are you ready? At least you got the heads up. Normally, I give no heads up, and I just go. All right.
Life story, elevator
Here we
pitch
go.
here.
Ready? Go.
Grew up on a farm in West Texas, raising pigs and cattle. Was born with a rare birth deficiency called fibular hemimelia. Had my right leg amputated when I was 1 year old, so I took my first step on a prosthesis. That's all I've ever known. Naturally gravitated towards sports, growing up in a very athletic family, even though I had one leg. Played sports all through high school, thought about playing at some small colleges football in college. That's when I found out about the Paralympic movement, Paralympic sports, thought I'd give that a go. Went to my first Paralympic competition in 2003, was introduced to a few folks. That opened the door for me to train for my first Paralympic Games in 2008 at the Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista. where I won 2 gold medals in the pentathlon and discus. Post Beijing, I decided to focus on discus alone, and I went to London, Rio, and Tokyo. And now I am a 4-time Paralympic medalist here at my 5th Paralympics in Beijing, China. I'm the world record holder in the pentathlon, world record holder in the discus, the first amputee to break 60 meters, and the only only amputee in the world to break 65 meters. Personal life, I like to play video games, but I don't anymore. I wish I could, but I don't have time really anymore. Other than that, I just work and hang out. I'm over 60.
Oh, you're well over 60.
Oh no.
But you know what? The good news is you still are not as long as Chase Jackson. She was 142. I'm going to have her do it again. She's coming back on Monday, and I'm going to have her do it again to see if she can shave a little bit off and tighten it up a bit.
Yeah, I should have just kept the personal stuff out because I spent a lot of times on, I love video games, but I love them so much that I finally got rid of it.
Jeremy, when you said at around 38 seconds, 2008 Beijing, I knew you were going over.
Oh, yeah.
You had a lot to get through between 2008.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you're going to surprise us and just go, then medal, and here I am. I thought you might pull that, but you didn't.
I got to get better. I got to
All right, I got
pitch.
a question for you guys that I keep asking this one, and I'm so curious about, because how do you harness all that talent, all that energy, all that focus, all that work for one specific moment? And I've seen both of you do it. One moment at the time that you need it the most on a really, really big stage. How do you do that?
You want to go first? You got it, Payton? You want me to go?
You can go if you got your answer.
I think over time I have come to learn that less is more. And what I mean by that is, I remember when I was younger, and so I guess it's applicable, but I realized, because there's so much energy, like I'm already starting to feel it. Like I'm starting to, now I'm 5 days out, and it's coursing through my veins. And so like I catch myself spending a lot of energy in some things that aren't essential. And so I just get very cautious of my energy and where it's going leading up to. And I have realized that I spent a lot of time earlier in my career allowing certain things, routines, just whatever, thought processes to usurp a lot of energy. That's been helpful in the past couple of years that I've stumbled onto. And then 2 is just is mindfulness for me. I completely just get into the present moment. Learned it makes it so much more fun, so much more exciting. A good throw could happen. It could also not happen. A bad throw could happen. It could not happen. This is the first year for me that instead of just having 2 or 3 technical cues that I'm focused on for a competition and stepping into the ring, I've added emotional cues. And I have a few emotional cues that I go in to ground myself and bring myself into the present moment. And that's been really fun to do.
Can I ask you about that, Jeremy? Do you mind? Like, if it's something you want to keep to yourself, I totally understand.
I think at this moment, yeah, I've been wanting to write it. I plan to write it out because it's been something that has really been just, it's helped me. I've just noticed, especially this year, as I've implemented those, just taken me out of the what if of performance anxiety and really just put me in the moment. And so I think like I would love to talk about them one day, but not right now, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to. I know I would love to talk about them one day, but not right now, maybe.
No, I mean, in things like that too, there's some things for yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And some of them are just legitimate tools that I learned at therapy that any book in Barnes and Noble and stuff that can be helpful. Just kind of how to handle a thought, or um, how to approach my performance anxiety in a certain way that has helped me to respond differently, because that anxiety for me is coming from a deeper place. And so if I can identify, as I've identified those things, I have been able to, place those proper tools at the right time.
So before we get to you, Payton, this is really interesting, Jeremy, because I think I love doing this show because I learned so much from you guys. It's so cool to do. The, the so the performance anxiety, and we can just talk in generalities, right? Can be applied to any anxiety in life, right?
Yeah.
And it's usually not. I mean, I see it for myself. It's usually not something that applies that's rational to what you're doing necessarily. It's usually something else
Correct.
that's kind of seeped in, or some long thought or experience many, many decades ago that you're kind of holding
Very
on
good.
to.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear you say that. And when you're ready to talk about it, let's do a whole show on it.
That's right up my alley. I love it. I've been doing, like, as I've gotten this latter portion of my career, it's just as I've gotten older, I've been able to go a few layers deeper in my own self-reflection and cultivate a little bit greater self-awareness. And so it's been fun, also painful, but very freeing. And yeah, it's cool. I love to talk about that stuff.
That's cool. So Payton, I think there's two sides to a coin that I want to talk to you about with this one, because I've seen you on one hand harness all that focus and talent to get you, to make a team, to win a medal. I've seen it, and on the flip side, I've seen it happen to you as well. And so, talk a little bit about, the first question of how do you harness it, and the second question, how do you deal with it when you've done everything you could and it kind of was, I mean, not, this is the wrong phrase, but kind of snatched away from you, but not really. I mean, someone else needed it too. So how do you address both of those kind of separately, those questions?
Yeah, I suppose that for harnessing it, my mindset is kind of just, like more trust in myself, trust in my ability. I've put in, hours and hours of work. I've done it in training plenty of times. I've done it in past meets. I've been in every position that you can probably be in. So just trusting that, I've been there before, and trust in the past experiences to carry me into the moment. Focusing on just that, that one moment. Everything comes down to, we get 6 throws in a competition if we're lucky. Everything, just focusing on that one throw. The next throw is the most important throw. The last one doesn't matter anymore. That's kind of how I think about it when it's a big moment. Just, trust in it. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And then, being on the flip side, obviously I just experienced that in Paris. I was in medal contention for 5 of the 6 rounds, and in the 6th round, I lost it. So, and it wasn't for a lack of trying. My best throw ended up coming in that 6th round when I had my one response throw. It just wasn't enough on the day. It definitely stings, just wondering, what could have been. But in this sport, like, say if I did get that bronze, if Joe didn't get that big throw off, I would have been wondering what could have been if I had just gotten that silver, because it was just, a little bit further. What could have been if I had actually won the whole competition. I think as athletes, we're never really satisfied with it. If high school me were to find out that I got 4th at the Olympics, like, that would have been just absolutely insane, incredible. Like, I would have been, you could never imagine it. Just making the Olympic team was my biggest goal ever, until you're there, and then you have to reevaluate the goals, and they change. So the same goes. Like, we're never really satisfied with where we're at. Obviously, it still stings now a month later. but kind of takes me back to Riley Dolezal was a U.S. javelin thrower, and we trained at the same university, North Dakota State. And I remember I threw 21:32 or 33 or 34. I don't remember exactly in a meet. It ended up coming to 69 feet, 11 and 3/4 inches. It was just under, it was as close to 70 as you could get without it being 70. I remember saying to him, and I'm like, "You couldn't give me that 1/4 inch?" And he said, "You should have thrown further." And I said, "You're absolutely right." So, if I'm upset about my 4th place finish, it's not like I didn't have 6 chances to throw further. If I didn't want to be happy with 4th, I should have thrown further. I have nothing to take away from Rajendra or Ryan or Joe. Like, they're fantastic athletes and they did what they had to. Like, I'm not going to be like, "Oh man, that Joe, he beat me, I'm mad at him." Like, no, I had plenty of chances to throw. So it's just good motivation for the next one. Luckily, I'm still the young man around here for U.S. shot put. So they're a bit older than me. I still like to, seeing the things that they're doing and how they just keep getting better. I like to think that the same thing lies in store for me. So I think that the best is still ahead of me, and there's always another chance.
You know what's so cool? I'm just sitting there just kind of taking all this in. This is so fun. And I'm having kind of flashbacks, Payton, to when during the pandemic, when we went to shoot with you guys in the garage when you were lifting. Do you remember that lifting session in the garage with you?
Oh, yeah, I remember. It was cold.
You and Ponce. Yeah, and then you guys are like, you had the garage door shut, and I'm like, man, can we just open it? We don't know what's going on with COVID. And it was like super cold, but I just think of those moments like that, which is interesting to go, here's 2 guys who have been on the podium many times, and there's a lot of people who don't know who you are. Like, this is the thing that kind of motivates me on our side, right, to go to bring kind of some other level of notoriety, because what you guys are doing is amazing. It's absolutely amazing, and I keep preaching it. This is the greatest pool of talent in track and field that we've ever seen in the history of the world. And it's not, I don't think it's even close to being an overstatement. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
The depth of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the amount of
absolutely.
records being broken right now, it's not just it's not just
opinion, right?
up for debate. It's factually true if you just look at how everyone keeps, the top lists and records keep getting broken all the time. Even now, we have so many current athletes like on the U.S. Olympic team that are top 25 all time, or so many current world record holders and medalists on the Paralympic team that are competing right now. Yeah, it's definitely the greatest that the sport's ever been.
Hey, Jeremy, and I'm not trying to throw any shade on NFL players or NBA players, but if any of those guys just, walked out to meet you behind your office and throw the discus, how far would they be throwing it?
Oh, I
Just like,
don't know, man.
just like the average NBA, NFL guy. Let's pick a linebacker. Well, no, we shouldn't. We should pick someone who's bigger than that. Let's pick a lineman.
For some reason, I feel like a football player would have more success than a basketball, and I don't know where that's coming from.
Maybe that tight quarters footwork. I don't know.
Yeah. I
But
don't know.
throw out a number. So what is your world record throw?
Paralympic world record with a 1.5 kilo disc is 65.86.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So
With
you
a
just
1.5,
pluck someone
oh,
out, bring them to your office, and just kind of walk out the back door. Hey, let's just throw a few.
let's just toss this a few times. Um, I mean, I'm gonna say for the 1.5, it's such a freaking light implement. If you've got a little bit of rhythm, I would say 40 to 50.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. 2K, 30 to
So
45.
that's flopping around a bit,
Yeah.
looking like a wounded duck.
Yeah. Um, so my brother had picked up one day in my practice one time, and he played football, and I was really surprised. I was like, "Oh wow, you made that really look kind of easy." I was like, "What the heck?" But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy how once you hit a certain place, like discus is always that 60 meters, right?
Yeah.
60 Olympic A is Olympic B standard still 62, and Olympic A is 65, I think, or did they get bumped up to 66? Can't really remember. But it's just crazy how once you hit this kind of like level, like especially with in the 60s, how much work it takes just to, you know, take it up a meter or half a meter. It's
Yeah,
just like,
like,
son of a gun.
well, this is when we had Clayton Murphy on. We were talking about, I think Clayton when Henry wins. So we're talking kind of mid distance, 800 and 1500 meter races, and they're talking about how close, the Olympic race, what the finals was, and Clayton's like, Bob, you got to remember. So think about, I forget what the meters were, but basically, he's like, yes, it might be 3 meters between first and third, or 5 meters, but think about it in terms of like the distance and like 100 meter race. He's like, it's actually the same kind of relativeness when you think of like this, because they're running so much longer versus the short sprint. And I'm like, okay, I could kind of see that, and I think of it, Payton, like in the shot put, right? I mean, it's millimeters sometimes, right, between gold and fourth.
Yeah, shoot,
Yeah,
yesterday
we
in
needed you to milk it
Rome,
again. Yeah.
one
Yesterday,
centimeter separated Joe and I yesterday in Rome. So I mean,
Jeez.
it's very close at times.
Payton, do you end up talking to the ball a lot? Just like, come on, man, you should have, you can go further than this.
I wouldn't say that I talk to the ball, but I'm definitely talking to myself. Like, and I won't say it on here, but some of the things that I say to myself are not appropriate, maybe for our audience today. But I'll tell myself to, get it going. You're better than this. Come on now.
Do you have long conversations with your dog about that too? Because you can really confide with him.
I wouldn't say I ever talk about shot put with my dog. More just talk about him, his day, how he's doing. He actually just had ACL surgery, so he's on the mend, and I've been gone for most of it. So I thank God for my fiance. She's been taking great care of him. But I'm looking forward for when the season's over to get back and helping to get him healed and mended and get him back into good shape again.
You guys are like a couple of old warriors there sitting on the porch, with your aches and pains.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had the hip surgery 2 years ago, and he has the knee surgery. This just he actually had the surgery right before I competed at the Olympics. So I think it was like a week before. So he's on the mend now. He's doing better.
Hey, Jeremy, that's awesome. That's good to hear. Somehow we only have 10 minutes left in the show. So, Jeremy, do you have? Here's a question for you, Jeremy. What is the one question nobody asks you that you're always like, hasn't anyone asked me this question yet? Is there one out there that, like, you've been interviewed a lot, but is there one out there that, like, nobody's asked me this one?
Oh, were you in the military? I never get that. No, just kidding. I get that all the time. Everyone thinks I get thanked for my service 24/7 because I'm an amputee. Um, no, I'll have to reflect on that. I don't know. Is there a question that I've never received that why hasn't anyone asked me that?
Or something about you. Maybe Payton's coming up with the question. I don't know. I can kind of see it in his eyes a little
Yeah.
bit. Is there?
Yeah,
So
that's
Payton
a question, Payton. Put the pressure on you. Deflect.
Yeah, let's put the pressure on Payton. Let's see if you can ask a question that Jeremy has never gotten before.
Ask
Careful.
Jeremy a question he's never gotten.
Yeah.
I don't know if he might have gotten this one. I don't know. I'll ask you a controversial question.
Oh boy, right up my
Okay.
alley.
So I saw an article online that Paralympic athletes are being required to cover up their tattoos if they have the Olympic rings because it's promoting an organization that isn't the Paralympics. How do you feel about that? Athletes being forced to cover up their Olympic tattoos.
How do I feel about it? Why the heck are you getting Olympic tattoos unless you're a fan? But if you're that that would be weird. Like if I was a Paralympic athlete and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna. Why wouldn't you get the Agitos? I think that's how you pronounce that. Agitos. Yeah, I think that would be weird. So like, I would never do that myself. And so yeah, this isn't the Olympics; this is the Paralympics. So I wouldn't see any issue with that as far as rules. And then I would just find that personally strange for anyone who did that.
Fun fact.
Like
Fun fact.
you weren't in the Olympics. You were in the Paralympics, unless you just get it because you're a fan. But if you get it because you're assuming that your competition or involvement with Paralympics is Olympic, I would just find that weird personally.
It is kind of weird because that's first of all, great question, Payton.
And aren't we? Yeah, it's a great question. Aren't we all for equal and all? I don't know. I don't know if I want to get started on that.
Fun fact, though, if you watch our episode
question,
on 110-meter hurdles with Devin Allen for the science of hurdles, you'll see when he comes out with his left arm, he normally has a big Olympic tattoo there. We had to take it out because our sponsor was worried that would be in violation of because they're not an official sponsor. Fun fact, Devin Allen, yeah.
I have not been asked to, or I haven't seen my tattoo censored yet by anybody, and it's also just on my left forearm. So
The rings.
I'll have to keep an eye on that to see if I ever see it censored. Nobody ever has yet, but I also don't get asked to do content very often. So
You're
not a content master, Payton?
So our producer Quincy says that's not so fun fact. That's not a fun fact. So, but Quincy, drop in a fun fact if you have one, because we're winding down the last 6 minutes of the show. Normally we end up giving Quincy assignments to go find some fun facts or define this or that. One thing though, Jeremy, when is your competition? It's on the 5th or the 4th?
September 5th. So my classification is 64. We go September 5th. That'll be Thursday at 7:04 p.m. Paris time.
Got it. And then we can see that on Peacock?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah. So yesterday we had Rose Holloman. I think I'm good luck because bad luck. Good luck for her. She racked up a lot of points and assists in today's game, but they did lose. But they were expecting a big competition against the Dutch. But I think it's all going to come down to the Dutch and them. This is all in pool play right now or group play. So. But I'm hoping that good vibes translates to you, Jeremy, or maybe you're going to translate it back to Payton. I don't know.
Unfortunately, I think that him and I are going to be competing at the same time because I'm also Thursday at Zurich. I haven't heard what time we compete at. It's usually in the late afternoon or the evening, so that's going to be kind of a bummer that I might not be able to see it live, but I'll be watching and checking the results afterwards and wishing you good luck. Is that do you do just the one? Is it just the one meet, or is there qualifying and then the finals the next day? Or is it one day? One day. Okay. All right. Well,
straight final.
Hopefully we're a little earlier in the day and then I can tune in. But otherwise, good luck to you.
Thank you, man. Good luck to you.
Quincy has a question here for us, guys. It's for you guys. He put it in the chat. I'll phrase my.
Who is Quincy? I'm sorry.
Quincy's our producer.
Okay.
He's saying, does anybody know what the para in Paralympics actually means?
Yeah, it means so para is parallel, and so it's parallel to the Olympics. So Olympics come in, and then Paralympics
There we
is
go.
parallel
Easy
to it.
answer. Easy answer. But I
Easy
never knew
answer.
that before.
And I've never personally been asked that question. So there we go.
Oh, so we did.
Multiple, yeah. There we go.
Quincy's saying, yeah, too easy for the expert. Yeah, next time we're gonna have to come up with
I'm not
tougher
gonna
ones.
lie. I've been involved with this sport for 20 years, and I just learned that this year. So
Really, that's fun.
I thought it had something to do with disability. I'm not gonna
That,
lie.
that's really funny. So normally at this time we start doing our shout outs to sponsors and everybody else, but I do have a favor to ask of you guys. So right after this show is over, I'm jumping in an Uber and heading from, I'm here in Soho in New York City, heading to my friend's house to her birthday party. And it's a big number for her. I'm not going to
Very
tell
fun.
you what it is, but I'm wondering, and what I want to do is play this segment for her when I get out there. So I'd love for you guys just to give Laura a shout out. Happy birthday shout out to Laura. Um, you know, I'll let you take it from here.
Happy birthday, Laura. You are, I don't know how old, but just getting better with the years. I hope you have an amazing day.
Happy birthday, Laura. Hopefully you enjoy your day and Bob brings you a great present or a good drink or some good food. Hopefully he's bringing you something worthwhile
Oh, Peyton, putting the pressure on.
as usual.
Always, always.
Always. That's
All
awesome.
right, guys. So a little housekeeping on our end. So if you want to follow World's Greatest, you saw down in those little rotating banners on all of our socials. Big shout out to Vizio. So if you have a Vizio smart TV, you can now find pretty much all World's Greatest content on there. We're going to be expanding that relationship too. Um, they've been an awesome partner right out of the gate. We're featuring two series, Superhuman Stories and The Science of Movement are kind of the lead shows right now. And another shout out to Curiosity Stream. It's a kind of science-y documentary streaming platform. But they've also got channels that have allowed us to get into Apple TV. So if you search The Science of Movement on Apple TV, you'll find our series. And the same thing on Prime Video. If you search The Science of Movement on Prime Video, you'll find our series. You have to go through Curiosity. But and a big shout out on our end for Hospital for Special Surgery, HSS, who sponsored the series. We're looking to do more work with those guys. And I'll turn it over to you guys for shout outs. You can shout out a brand, you can shout out family, you can shout out the dog, you can shout out brands that you want to get.
I'm not good at that stuff. So
All right,
go Team USA.
we'll let Peyton start and you'll get ideas.
I wouldn't say that I have, too many shout outs. I mean, I'm sure that my friends and family will be watching. I'll say hello, Grandma. I'm sure you're watching. And I don't have anything else for you. So I guess I'll thank you, Bob, and I'll thank you, Jeremy, for taking the time, having me on, and talking to me. I appreciate it as always, working with World's Greatest, always putting out fun content, and giving us a little bit of a highlight in a world that kind of ignores our sport and pushes us on the
Yeah.
back burner. So we appreciate you bringing us up to the forefront.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I thank you guys. I mean, we're, like I always say, we're nothing without you guys. So the biggest shout outs, Peyton, thank you for coming on. Jeremy, amazing.
Yeah.
I wish you all the luck in this Paralympics coming up. And again, Jeremy's live right now from Paris. We didn't really touch on that at all. He's sitting there in Paris right now,
Yeah.
live.
In the Olympic Village here, just in this little white walled room. So, but yeah, this is the first time that I have a bunch of family and friends, about 15 of them, come to Paris. A big shout out to them. Thank you to them. I think a couple of them are watching, so really love that they're coming, and I get to experience this with them, and just appreciate their support coming all the way across the ocean over here to join.
That's awesome.
And thank you for having me. Appreciate it. This was
Yeah,
really fun.
yeah. Let's do it again. Maybe post you bringing home some hardware and bring home a few bags too, Peyton.
I'll do my
gotta be-
best. Got
you gotta
four
be-
more. 4 more till it's time to rest. So finish on a high note.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to
Okay.
you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Bob.
See
Bye.
you guys.